G'day everybody, welcome back to Valheim, and welcome to episode 365, our very last episode, well, at least for now. I thank you so much guys for joining me in this episode, and I thank you for anyone really who has watched any part of the series, or perhaps maybe been watching the series from the very start until this episode. Thank you very much. I tip my hats off to you, and well, I guess there's no emote for that, but I will just do a little bit of a bow there for you guys. What are we doing today? Well, surely we will be doing something a little bit different, but I don't think I have too much planned for the entire episode. I do want to do a little bit of work, I guess, and a bit of, or make a little bit of progress on this build, but I have spent a little bit of time trying to prepare stuff just to celebrate the end of the series. I figure though that the build for the staircase is probably something that we should try and complete or try and replicate at least, because I'm probably going to forget all about how we did this if I don't do it right now. So that's the initial plan, and then after that we'll sort of think about what to do next. Again, no like super big plans, but we'll try and do something a little different than normal. So yeah, let's get cracking. I don't even know if I'll have enough Grouston to do what we want to do, but if we run out of Grouston, then we'll call it quits there, basically. Alright, so we have a couple going up that way, so, I mean, we've sort of got a blueprint, right? We just need to flip it, so hopefully it won't be too difficult, and then we can move on to other things. So a couple of these things should go in, I think. And then we should get the Grouston stairs and rotate that, although, yeah, I actually don't have much Grouston at all. In fact, I'm not entirely sure if it's a wise thing to stick around here. Is it? Is it dark already? I mean, there's one thing that we need to fix, which is the rested buff. No, it's the middle of the day, but you know what? I'll grab that rested buff right now, and we'll continue. As much as I would like, you know, this final episode to be, you know, super special and everything like that, we do obviously still need to play by the game's rules, make sure that we're safe and sound. We may not actually have enough Grouston to do too much, so perhaps maybe we can go out and mine a little bit, and that's fine as well. Because, yeah, I really do think that staircase needs to be completed. Do have a bit of a sparkler thing going there. I should actually light that at some point. But yeah, going to be a little bit of a fun sort of episode. I plan to sort of take a trip down memory lane, so to speak, to sort of look at stuff that we've achieved, and just look at the game as well, and where the game has gotten up to. Obviously it's been updated various times throughout our playthrough. But yeah, it's been a fun year of episodes, but in truth, I've actually been playing for more like 2 years, because I sort of looked back in the playlist, and when I was sort of looking at it, I realized that I actually started playing back in March 2023. So it's quite timely. I mean, you know, not exactly released, you know, an episode every 2 days or anything like that, because that was sort of my initial planned release schedule. But we got very, very close to, you know, doing the last episode in March, which is kind of interesting. Oh, okay, we've got problems. Let's just deal with this Morgan. Okay, finally, a little bit of peace and quiet. Exactly what I wanted. But yeah, I mean, I'm really happy with all the things that we've managed to do with Valheim, to be honest, and obviously I was not expecting to play for so long. I would say the biggest selling point for this game would be its building mechanic. It can be a little frustrating, but once you sort of get the hang of what you're doing, you learn a little bit more about, you know, how snapping points and all that sort of stuff work. And very recently as well, you know, like someone pretty much taught me about the whole, you know, door snapping mechanic, which makes it even easier for you to sort of get the right snapping points that you want. So once you sort of learn all of those sort of little details, the game really does have a lot of flexibility when it comes to, you know, building your ultimate sort of base, your ultimate Viking getaway, hideout, whatever you want to call it. And yeah, every sort of tier that is unlocked, you know, as you progress the game is also super interesting. Just really keeps you engaged and keeps you wanting more, right? Like, at the moment, I'm just really excited about what we will eventually see in the Deep North, and I really can't wait, actually. I want to see what new things get introduced. But, you know, like, there's farming, there's building, there's, you know, all of the normal sort of survival elements which have already been explored, and I'm curious about what they can add next, right? It almost feels like everything seems to be exhausted. So it makes sense that the next update's going to be, you know, the last one, so to speak. Perhaps maybe they might do some smaller updates similar to what they did with I believe the Traders, and I believe the Witch as well. That was considered to be a quote-unquote small update. So yeah, very excited for the future of Valheim. But I guess after having played 365 episodes, you know, there comes a time where you need to sort of put down a video game despite how much you like it, you know, and move on to other things. And that's essentially what we're doing here. I am hoping that the Deep North comes out sometime this year, but that's kind of speculation at the moment. I don't think anyone really has an idea of when the update is actually going to come out. I'm super worried here because bone mass lasts for less than a minute now, so I really need to get rid of these guys. Okay, he's decided to just leave. I mean, that works. That works. Don't need to deal with him right away. But yeah, I don't know, 2026, and to have to wait until, like, say, early 2026 seems a bit rough. So I'm hoping sometime in 2025 we'll get to see the Deep North. And perhaps maybe I won't really be away for too long, but for the moment, we'll take a break. I'll probably play a few other games. You know, if you're around the channel quite a little bit and you follow along with some of the other games that I've been playing Enshrouded quite a bit, which is, you know, I would say a good evolution of Valheim. I can't quite say that it's, like, equal, though. Like, I still, if I had to choose between the two, I would still say that the Valheim is a little bit more exciting. And I can't exactly pinpoint what is driving that. Perhaps maybe the... at least for me, the sense of... I don't know, solitude maybe in the 10th world, since I do play on my own. And just the sense of being a Viking and being able to sort of conquer new biomes and lands. I think that's the biggest draw for me, and I don't think you can get the same thing really out of what's available in Enshrouded. How the hell did I get this built? I got it built somehow. What on earth? I mean, the landing is a bit of a abomination, isn't it? So I think maybe I did I do something like that? I don't think that's quite right, because the landing is a little bit extended. Unless I'm using a different snapping point. Maybe a snapping point from down here. That could be the way I've done it. In which case... yeah, okay. This could be a little tricky. Let's just review this once more. Yeah, so that matches. Then I have like two pieces like that, and then I see that perhaps maybe I did some freeforming, and I don't know if we'll be able to match it. Very strange indeed. Actually, I think I know what I've done. And yeah, I mean, this will be so much harder to do if we had to sort of come back to it after a few months. I'm hoping that's the length of time that we'll have to wait. Yeah, I think that's how we did it, and then we did that. And then that somehow acts as a snapping point, is it? Or did we work on the upper sections first? We may have. Perhaps this is going to need, like, some reworking down the line. It's a little difficult to see, so I may as well go home and have a rest at this point. I might only spend a little bit more time with the building guys, because I do have a few things I want to try and do in this episode, if we can, that is, since it's the last episode and everything. And if it turns out we're going to have to do a rebuild on the stairs when we come back for the Deep North, then so be it. Right? We'll have to do that. I wonder if they'll introduce new types of materials for the Deep North to build with. I'm sure they will, but I'm just sort of wondering what kind of materials. It'd be cool if we could get some more heavy build materials to work with. Something that's not rough stone and something that's not grouston. Let's eat a little bit. Maybe some bread is fine. I'll have maybe a sausage, and that's not really giving us a lot of HP, is it? But that's fine. Okay. I do need to be careful this time, though, because probably shouldn't be fighting absolutely everything that shows up, if we can help it. Okay, so what is going on here? I think in terms of the way the stairs, or sorry, not the stairs, the landing has been constructed is correct. I just can't seem to recall how I managed to get the staircase to be in this exact position. Because it almost feels like, perhaps maybe, we want to be snapping to... not there, but probably want it somewhere there. It almost feels like perhaps maybe there was a freeform decision that I made. I think we can do better. Is there an actual snapping point somewhere here? That's sort of what I'm questioning. No, I think what we can do is we can try and snap, well, not snap, sorry, we can freeform to match this corner And I get the feeling that that's what I actually did. Again, having trouble remembering. I sort of just like made a bit of a mess of that build just to be able to get a staircase all the way up. Alright, so what else did we do? We curved a tiny little bit more to try and get to the top. And I think this is freeformed. So let's do that and that. And then I think we should be able to get the staircase in. I don't remember if it was like that. I think it was. So we curved it by a couple of segments of rotation. Yeah. So now we just need to sneak this in. How do we do it on this side? Yeah, okay. So try to match that. There, I think. Hopefully that all makes sense, and yeah, we then need to sort of think about how to complete the floor for the second story, but I'm not going to do that now. The only thing that I think I'll finish up on build-wise before we sort of do other interesting things is just to complete the floor down, or the ground floor, particularly in front of the fireplace and the chimney. And that should make a whole bunch of sense. I'm just trying to think of whether or not I should put in even more, like around these sections here. Maybe. Doesn't look like it's clipping too badly or anything like that. There will probably be a whole bunch of decorative sort of things that we need to explore for the chimney, but again, that's all happening when we come back for the second season of our Valheim series. For now, we shall say goodbye to our castle, well, until we return on tour. But yeah, let's head back home and let's do other stuff. Let's maybe celebrate our series. So Sparkler's out, and yeah, we should do a few bits and pieces here. So what I was thinking of doing was just like, you know, doing a bit of a tour of our misadventures in the game, and I figure the best way to do that is well, obviously we'll head out and we'll visit all of the previous places that we have visited, but I'm also thinking of just, you know, maybe trying out different things, like different weapons and different gear, since we're just sort of mucking around, right? And I was thinking maybe it might be a good idea for us to get into spellcasting and stuff, so I wanted to see if we can get some armor for that initially. So Hood of Embla, Trousers of Embla. I don't know if we even have enough ITER, to be honest. It could, you know, we could be limited, actually. So let's just double check on whether or not we've got what it takes. I mean, we've got the soft tissue. We've got some sap. We may not have enough for everything. But we'll see how far we can get. So I do like the helmet that we've got, so maybe we don't need the hood. But if we can make the robes, that would be good. So we'll drop that in. And yeah, we do want to play around with different weapons, so Troll Staff, maybe we'll use the Staff of Embers. Probably I shouldn't get rid of any of the, like, you know, weapons outright. I might keep, like, the axes on hand. But I think maybe we can retire the Scourging Slayer. So we'll chuck these things in. If I do have the materials for it, maybe we can make another staff. I was sort of eyeing another staff, but we'll come back to that. Let's grab our Iter, and yeah, I need a whole bunch of stuff, right? Like, I should actually take a look at some of the materials that I actually need. I'll probably need some flame metal, but trousers of Embla. So we need 20 Iter for that. So that's pretty big. Robes of Embla. Maybe this is what we should focus on, in fact. So if we can't get everything, we'll just get the robes at the very least. So linen, aspen hides, refined Iter. So we're going to have to wait for the Iter a little bit. 5 flame metal. Which we do have. I feel like we're running out of Iter though, guys, so that could be a bit of a problem. Sorry, not Iter. Well, we are running out of Iter, but we are also running out of flame metal. Luckily, I think it's only the robes that need the flame metal. We need some linen. I recall making a whole bunch of linen not so long ago. But yeah. Let's check things out. Oh, I should be closing the door, shouldn't I? Make sure that we keep the sparks inside. So while we're waiting, because yeah, we've only got 12 at the moment, and we need to sort of wait for a little bit more. We might start the tour. But I do need some Iter foods as well, don't I? So that's another thing that I need to prepare. Just looking at our staff options, and like, I kind of like the look of this staff of fracturing. Staff of the Wild. I'm surprised there is no staff that requires the, I forget the name of the stone. I think it's like a Thunderstone or whatever. But maybe we can play around with Staff of Fracturing here. So, charred bones, ashwood, and whatever that powder is. Let's see if we can make that. Carry that around as well. Yeah, so this is pretty much just going to be a bit of a play around kind of episode, you know? As we wrap things up. Can we upgrade it? I think so. We may as well max this out. So now I just need to sort of play around with it, but we do need to prepare some ITER foods. Or can we just consume some of the feasts that we've created? Because some of them should give us some ITER, right? So, maybe. Maybe we can. It might be a little early to... Will we even get up to 20? That's a very good question. I think so. I think so. I hope so, anyway. For the sake of us experimenting with all of this stuff. So I've got all of the other ingredients prepared, but perhaps maybe I can let some of this go for the moment. And... well, except for the ITER, I think I should hold on to the ITER, to be honest. And yeah, let's have a play around. I'm gonna see if I can eat from the Ashlands feast, just to give us a little bit of ITER to play around with. Hopefully. So that gives us 38. I really don't know how much ITER we need to be able to cast. Yeah, okay. Whoops. There's not too much damage. Should be okay. Alright. Let us go on tour. Oh, there's farming to do. A lot of distractions here. But I figure maybe we should just go back to where it all began, right? Which would be the stones. And remember, sort of making a start with our character. I do like the fact that this game doesn't put too much complexity in the character creator. Well, at least back then anyway. I haven't really created any new characters or anything like that since recent updates, but you know, I appreciate that because it can sort of distract you a little bit from actually getting into the game, right? Like spending like hours trying to create the perfect character, only for the helmet to then obscure everything. I guess you could still see our face a little bit. Nice beard going on there. In fact, maybe we can just quickly take this off, you know. Maybe we can do a tour with the helmet off. We're not taking anything seriously at all. So, anyway. What did we do next after that? I think we sort of stumbled around trying to figure out the mechanics of the game, and you know, I didn't even realize that I shouldn't really be exploring out at night, all that sort of stuff. Discovering boars for the first time. I do have a marker here with the house symbol on it, and I actually can't recall if I built a home out here or not. Oh, actually, did I? No, I think this is probably one of the homes that were already built, and we sort of stumbled across it, and that's why we have it marked down. Let me swap out to our new staff. I have no idea what this new staff does. Oh, goodness me. Okay, sparks flying and everything. Wow. That's kind of cool. It's kind of violent though, isn't it? I do quite like the look of it though. I wonder if those sparks do like damage all around it. Probably. But yeah, I think I remember sort of, you know, starting out, trying to make like a house somewhere in here. And it wasn't even really a house, and, you know, by the start of the game, I was sort of thinking, you know, this is definitely not going to be our permanent base, so, you know, didn't really want to spend so much time, you know, creating, like, the be-all and end-all place, right, to live in. And it's interesting because I keep getting a lot of people sort of checking out the series, you know. Oh, here it is. I think this is... Oh no, this is probably another home that's designed by the game itself, procedurally generated. But I do get people, you know, checking in on the series. Perhaps maybe they're attracted to the amount of episodes that are available, and some people out there who, I mean, the majority of you guys are awesome in the fact that, you know, you heeded the fact that I knew nothing about the game when I, you know, started. And a lot of people trying to give advice and all that sort of stuff, which is super appreciated. But there are some people, some comments where, you know, people are like, oh, why the hell are you going out at night? Why the hell aren't you building the place with, like, a, you know, a foundation? You know, all manner of criticisms. You know, it's all fair. But, I mean, I'm just coming in from the perspective of not having ever played Valheim, and not ever having played a survival game, for that matter. I think this is probably my first survival game ever. And yeah, I was sort of just fumbling around trying to figure out things, and I enjoyed that entire process, to be honest. Perhaps maybe some people may not appreciate it. I never really intended for this playthrough to be, you know, like a guide or like a walkthrough, because I never really do walkthroughs. And perhaps maybe I can start a new genre. It's the stumble-throughs. That's what I'm known for. And it's, you know, a good indication of what the average gamer maybe might go through when they're experiencing your game for the very first time. What's in all, you know? Just stumbling through stuff. Why am I not picking up things automatically? I think I've maybe accidentally turned auto pickup off. But anyway, yes, this is the stones and the environs, so interesting times back then. Yeah, I've forgotten how to turn auto pickup on, which is frustrating me. There we go, auto pickup. V. Yes. There we go. Let's head back, because it is night, although nothing really scares me out here at night anymore. But I think it's probably a good idea for us to go back and rest, and I think the tour, or the end of the series tour, is going to be a little bit better during the daytime, where we can see stuff. Plus, I do really want to check on our ITER supply, and to see whether or not we're going to be able to make this robe or not. Ooh, it's a lot. Yep, another 12 ITER, so very good. So we might be able to make the robe, but we might not be able to upgrade it fully. We'll see how we go. The resin, some food for the chooks. Let's just maybe drop that in, and we'll continue on crafting. There you go. So, I remember when I first started, I was not entirely sure about Valheim, and it wasn't until we fought Ikthir that I thought that this game was really something, and this game kind of had the secret sauce, you know? Like, like, the crafting was getting interesting by then as well. Don't get me wrong. But I think it was the whole idea of, like, discovering, you know, bosses and the fact that you had to collect certain things or solve riddles and stuff to eventually defeat the bosses and acquire powers and then unlock, like, new craftables as well. That was the point where I started to get invested. Yes, let's do Robes of Embla. Bang. Can we upgrade it? We need a couple more flame metal and 5 refined Iter. Iter regen plus 50%. So I think we should do that immediately. I think it was just the flame metal that we were missing, weren't we? So let's go ahead and grab the flame metal. Let's do it. But that's going to be the extent of our upgrade for the Robes of Embla. Just having a look here. Would we be able to get the trousers? No, we need 20 Iter for that as well, which, yeah, it's going to be a little bit brutal for us to try and get more Iter. When we eventually get out to the Mistlands, though, we might check on whether or not we can find some soft tissue relatively easily. But, yeah, for now, I think this will have to do. Are there any capes that would help us with Iter regen? I don't think so. Anyway, we are going to just quickly have a sleep. So let us go ahead and do that. So yeah, gonna be a bit of a mix and match kind of thing with our armor in this episode. Let's put the helmet back on. Just give us a little bit more defense. As I assume the defense is going to be a lot lower for these types of armor. Like, you're probably going to be a bit squishier, but you're going to want to try and fight things from afar. Let's chuck that on. And, you know, since we're here, I am also going to be, well, for want of a better word, retiring our armor. So, at least for the time being, until we come back to the series. So there goes our Curious. We've got some bits and pieces here to store. I'll do that later on our way out. Let's have a sleep. And I do need to think about the Iter foods though, right? So we'll see if we can cook something up in the kitchen. I think the most Iter that you can get from any one meal is from, I think it was the muck shake or something like that. Wow, 1,000 days of Valheim. Let's take a look at our recipes. No, it's the sparkling shroom shake that would give us the most Iter. So we need a little bit of sap, smoke puffs, mage cap. Yep. I'm just trying to remember if I did make any while I was preparing stuff. I didn't, did I? Okay. I obviously didn't spend enough time preparing stuff. But yeah, let's see if we can get it all done. Sorry, I'm missing something, aren't I? The sap, which is in here. Alright. And let's just drop a few of these ingredients back. And yeah, I'll just make the one, because I'm thinking I'm probably not going to need, like, heaps and heaps of ITER. Probably need something else for our HP at some point, and just to balance things out, I'm going to bring myself something that's going to give us, like, plenty of HP to try and survive stuff. But yeah, this is looking good, I think. Let's drop a few other ingredients. Unfortunately, it is turning out to be a rainy day. But that's okay, we shall continue onwards. But yeah, one of the reasons for the robe really is the ITER regen, right? So we should be able to cast stuff a lot more often. Anyway, let's head to our old home, and I guess the next thing that really happened in our series was our very long stint in the first home, as we were sort of trying to look for the way forward. And that sort of reminded me of how I was extremely stuck finding what to do next, and it turned out that I had the forge available to craft for a very long time, and I didn't really realize that that was the case until I think some people sort of started pointing out that I've kept missing stuff while looking through our crafting menus. One thing that I found to be quite difficult to get your head around, especially, you know, when I've not really played survival games before, but the crafting menus, there are a few different sort of crafting menus in different sort of spots, and you know, you get used to checking on crafting menus in one particular spot, but then you forget about another. So, you know, you can craft stuff yourself without even needing like benches and stuff, but then there are certain things that you need benches for, and then there are certain things that you can craft only using the build menu, using the hammer. And yeah, that was all, well, initially kind of convoluted for me. I mean, it is actually kind of simple if you think about it, but I just failed to check on stuff. And yeah, we had our first farms, we had our boars the first time as well, and I remember, you know, getting excited about like finding, I think, did I get like a 2-star boars at some point, or maybe a 1-star boar, and that was really exciting. And oh, hang on, I may have gotten like a 1-star boar or 2-star boar for the new place, but unfortunately they died in a, what kind of attack was it? I think it was like a bat attack, I think, which was really, really annoying. But yeah, fond memories of this place, and it is still standing, and I'll probably keep it that way, you know, just as a reminder for, you know, what happened next after our brief stint of roughing it out in the wilds. Alright, I think it's time for us to move on to the next place that we started visiting. Oh, discovering copper for the first time was kind of interesting as well. That was kind of cool, and I remember attracting all of the ne'er-do-wells in the Black Forest, including those trolls, which were very, very difficult to face off against initially. But yeah, we soon stood our grounds, and I think we utilized our bow quite a bit back then to try and fend off trolls, or at least kill them from afar, until I got, you know, brave enough to actually parry trolls. And I guess we got so powerful to the point where even the troll hits didn't really do too much against us. So we've come a very long way, obviously. Let's throw that there. Okay. I mean, the swamps. Swamps were kind of interesting. I don't really think I've got a, do I have a swamps portal? I probably do. I have a, or is it a swamp portal? Maybe I don't. Maybe I don't have a swamp portal. Or maybe the portal has been taken out. Which is a little bit unfortunate. But let's go out this way, just to check out the swamp area. And, you know, as I said, it's just going to be a bit of a tour of what we've done. And yeah, I mean, it'll be good, because we'll find maybe some trolls. I'll get to experiment with one of these, and we'll get to throw fireballs and sparks and stuff out there as we do this tour. So off we go. Yeah, I wasn't too impressed by the swamps. You know, it was a bit of a drab kind of biome, but it makes sense to exist. I remember it being a bit challenging as soon as night rolled through, with the wraiths being like a huge issue, right? As soon as you found a wraith, you were like, well, it's time to get out of there. And then discovering that we have, like, you know, chains and stuff. Oh, hello there. So let's actually experiment with this thing. Ooh, okay. So, yes, we get some hearts and stuff, but it's still attacking us, though. I'm not entirely sure what's going on there. Unless... No, they're still definitely doing some damage against us, so... yeah, I'm not entirely sure what to make of the potion, to be honest. Oh, we don't have enough ITER for this one, for the troll starve. 120 ITER is what's required, apparently. Yeah, okay, so we need at least one more ITER meal to utilize that. Well, we might, you know, we might check out whether or not we can do that later. But for the moment, this actually doesn't do too much damage, does it? I should maybe get that one in place. Alright, off we go. Probably don't need to wait around. And yeah, gotta get the sparkles out, shouldn't we? This is a celebration after all. Celebration of a series well done. Yeah, again, guys, do appreciate you guys sticking around, watching all of these videos. Probably a lot of people have dropped off, actually. I've seen comments on other videos and posts saying that people have dropped off, you know, and understandable, because, you know, there's only so much more that we can do while waiting for new updates. And I've been spending that time building things and building like crazy, and I would say that it was around about the time that we started... Well, I would have to say it would be the main house, right? Once we got started with the main house, the building component of this game really started to get addictive. I mean, I knew by the time we were building the first home in the meadows that, you know, the building was a bit more complicated than I initially thought. But it was only when we started building the second home that I started getting a bit more of an appreciation, so to speak, of the maybe the limitations, complexities, but also, you know, some of the potential that the building had in this game, which ended up being, if you ask me, the most enjoyable component of the entire thing. Oh, okay, alright, the sparkler's out. Well, that's a bit of a problem, isn't it? Can't have a celebration without those sparklers, so gonna have to do something about that. But yes, here we are, finding those crypts. Yeah, the crypts were interesting. Finding out about iron the first time as well. I remember coming across like a muddy pile up here on the surface, I think, without actually having to go into a sunken crypt and discovering the metal. And boy, have we spent a lot of time mining for metal in this playthrough. It's nice that we don't actually get burnt from our own spells as well. That's very nice, very appreciated. But yeah, I feel like we spent a lot of time in the swamps, to be honest, trying to get so much metal. There were a chunk of episodes where we spent so much time just like, you know, going to crypts one after the other, mining everything out completely. And as a result, we've got like so much metal, although in recent days we have actually had to use quite a bit of that metal already. And I do suspect that perhaps maybe at some point we might need to get some more metal, but we've got some decent sites to go to hopefully be able to get some more metal. Oh, and these abominations. I remember the first time seeing these guys and was absolutely terrified, actually. Very good. And yeah, I mean, Bone Mass was kind of an interesting boss. I didn't find Bone Mass to be too challenging, but what I did appreciate from Bone Mass was the fact that we're able to get quite arguably one of the best powers available in the game. So, and I would say that I would not be going anywhere new without having Bone Mass to protect us from taking too much damage. I feel like it's maybe one of the most critical things to have as you're exploring the, I would say, you know, the Mistlands and the Ashlands, right? So without it, I feel like we wouldn't have gotten very far. I mean, you probably could chip away at stuff, but you would be constantly, like, having potions and all that sort of stuff all the time, and that would have been very expensive. Anywho, time to go back, and before we go to the next segment of our tour, which will take us to the mountains, I reckon we do need a new sparkler, right? So let's go back home and fetch one. I'm not entirely sure if the day's gonna last either, so we might need to figure out if we need to have a sleep or not. And I might also want to figure out whether or not there's anything I can eat to get a bit more iter. So it does probably mean that we need to sacrifice on either stamina or health. Yeah, this staff is actually kind of cool. I do quite like it. You know what? I may also go back and fetch a different power. I mean, despite me just telling you guys that bone mass is my favorite, my second favorite power would have to be Eikthyr. Eikthyr was essentially super useful at the very beginning, and even after, you know, obtaining bone mass, we often switched to Eikthyr just to be able to get around a little bit faster. And yeah, I reckon it's definitely one of the top 5 or the top 3 powers. But yeah, I think Eikthyr should help us move around a little bit more. Alright, I've got a lot of bits and pieces here. Let me just tidy things up. Guck. I can't remember where we're keeping some guck. Maybe down here. And yeah, a whole bunch of other stuff. Mushrooms I will keep. They are actually kind of low on just regular old mushrooms. And yeah, Eikthyr foods. Do I have any Eikthyr foods here already? Maybe not. So let me just make some more Eikthyr foods. That, and I need sap, but I also want to make something else that'll give us some Eikthyr, I think. Marinated greens. Yeah, this would be good. We could even do like a sizzling berry broth, but probably don't need that. Yeah, it's nice to experiment with all of this stuff a little bit. But we won't need to eat it immediately. Let's have a sleep, and we'll quickly go back to the stones, pick up Eikthyr, and continue our tour. I also need a sparkler, don't I? So, that I think I may have prepared already. So I'll just quickly check. But yes, we are going into some more dangerous territories, let's just say. Yep, I do have extra sparklers here. One thing that I probably don't need to carry is our faithful Scourging Slayer. So we can place that down over here. And yeah, off to the stones we go. I'm actually kind of surprised that we don't have a portal that leads to the swamps somewhere that I've left. So, yeah, I'm not entirely sure what's up with that, but anywho, Eikthyr, let's go. And we'll use Eikthyr to run around a little bit in the mountains. One thing that I should do, in fact, so let's not leave immediately, but I think having a potion that lets us jump around a little bit more would be maybe a good thing to have. Mountains. I don't have a portal that leads us to the mountains, I don't think. Or do I? I mean, we've got mountains just here, so we can just have a visit, but... one thing that I might do is test to see if we type in mountains or mountain, whether or not this will connect anywhere. It doesn't look like it. Sometimes it does take a few seconds, right, for the portal to realize. But yeah, I don't think we have a connection. Strangely. But that's okay. I really don't see myself going back to the mountains unless we want to spend a bit of time, you know, in the second season of the series, building a house in the mountains. And I can see that happening, actually, because, you know, we've built in almost every biome. Mind you, I do not have, like a base set up in the swamps. So perhaps maybe getting a base set up in the swamps would be nice. But, yeah, that could be maybe another goal that we set ourselves when we come back in the second season. Of course, we are going to build a base when we go to the Deep North, so we'll have a Deep North base eventually. Obviously needing to conquer the biome first before we even think about building a base, but yeah, we can maybe do a log house or something like that here in the mountains, or in the mountain biomes. And yeah, I don't know, like, do we build it here, or perhaps maybe we build it like somewhere different, like a different mountain completely, and it can be maybe our winter getaway house, you know? Perhaps. Just speaking out loud, but yeah. I remember that the mountains was basically the worst biome, the biome that I most hated for a long while, in fact. And even after stumbling across the plains, I didn't actually change my mind about the mountains. I absolutely hated the mountains. And it was primarily due to the fact that those wolves would hunt in packs, and they would often get behind you and deal, you know, a lot of critical damage to you. And yeah, you would basically get eaten alive all the time. At least that was my experience while we were sort of in the mountains and looking for silver constantly. Speaking of looking for silver, I'm just like worried now that we may have a need to look for silver when we, you know, eventually need to make our way to the Deep North. That could be a possibility. I think we do have a little bit of silver ore sort of tucked away somewhere, but not much. So yeah, potentially we might need to go out there if there's a requirement for it. But I'm sort of secretly hoping that, you know, whatever we're going to need to build, it's simply going to be the flame metal that we need. And, you know, you might sort of scratch your head there, well, isn't flame metal a little bit tougher to get to? Nah, not necessarily. At least, you know, flame metal is right there in front of your eyes. You just need to sort of be careful about mining it and not, you know, getting swallowed up in the lava. Whereas silver, it's a bit of a process, right? Because you've got to detect where it is, and then you gotta dig it all up, and then you've gotta bring it back down the mountain. I suppose maybe the bringing back down the mountain isn't so difficult now, considering we've got, you know, upgraded portals, so thank the Lord for that. We've got random Aspen out here. We've got a couple of eggs already. We should try and hatch those. But, not in this episode. Not in this episode. Next, on our 365-day or 360 episode tour, Plains? Plains. Plains full of pains. Let's go out there. Oh, yes, it's time for some food. So, let's have another muck shake. Sorry, not muck shake. Shroom shake. And once we get super low on the feast, I think I'll have this, the marinated greens. Although, its timing is a little bit close to the pie, isn't it? So, we could be running around with a super low HP, if we decided to only eat that. The plains. I would say the plains was kind of refreshing in a sense. I remember we came across a little bit of the plains before we were ready for it, and I had to fight a regular, like, fueling, and that was a really tough fight. We survived it, barely. And yeah, it was kind of interesting. It was like a bit foreboding, because I was like, oh, this is what you're gonna have to expect, you know, this is what you're going to look forward to. And I was like, oh my god. But yeah, I mean, the plains didn't turn out to be too crazy, and I much preferred hanging out here in the plains despite all of the death skeetos everywhere. It was a bit more pleasant, you know, like, you look at the environment itself, it is actually kind of a pleasant area. There's a lot of trees that give you fine wood and all that sort of stuff, and I thought it was quite beautiful. The only reason why I ended up not sort of moving a permanent home out this way is I didn't really like the soundtrack out here. I think I just mentioned this recently, but had the soundtrack been a little bit better and a little bit more, you know, peaceful and inviting, I think I would have moved here, because I just like the environment so much. Could do with a little bit of greenery here and there, but you know, it's not that bad. Massive damage. Love it. And I think there's one more in here, right? There's always two of them. Is it wasteful if I just ate the marinated greens now? Possibly. But that's okay. Because I do want to play around with the troll staff as well, right? Like, it's been a while. But I guess the troll staff is, you know, it's a double-edged sword, right? Because it does attack us as well. Oh, okay. Apparently it has already killed the tar blob. So yeah. My bad. And we're quite low HP, so let's just be a little bit careful here. Can I unsummon a troll? I don't know. I don't know if that's a possibility or not. Anyway. Troll, sir, please fight everything else, and don't worry about us. It is chasing us, though. A little bit of a worry. Right. Yeah, I quite enjoyed the plains. I remember this is probably around about the time where the hill deer update came through, or... Yeah, I think so, and we had those various quests, you know, visiting towers and visiting, you know, like cultist caverns and stuff like that, and just fighting those, let's call them mini bosses, which was actually kind of fun. Unfortunately, there was no real incentive to do the fights multiple times, right? Once you returned stuff to Hildir. But it was still very, very interesting, and I would say that the most challenging of all of those mini-bosses would be Zilinthunger, but it's not because of the boss fight itself. It was more because of the fact that you had to climb the tower. And it's kind of an interesting thing. You had to climb the tower first to get in because the entrances were at the very top, and then you had to work your way down. So that was very interesting indeed. Anyway, as you can tell, guys, this is probably going to be a bit of a longer episode, and I don't mind. It is our last episode after all, so why not? Why not? Let's head back into the kitchen. Let's just grab some food that we can keep for when we need it. So maybe another roast chook there. I am really consuming a lot of foods. Oh, very important, very important. I know I'm not really here trying to do too much work, but I do want to make sure that we're harvesting these vine berries because they're few and far between. Great. And stash all of that in there as well. And the next part of our tour takes us to the Mistlands, and yeah, boy, was the Mistlands kind of interesting. That's probably the biome where I started to feel like maybe the mountains wasn't such a bad place after all, you know? Because when I first got there, I didn't realize that I was missing something critical to craft from I forget the name of the boss. It wasn't favour, but the one in the plains. But anyway, I soon realized after a while that I didn't get the boss drop, and some people would like to say that, you know, that's just the game. I call it a bit of a bug because the drop fell through the, I guess, the altar, and you would have to sort of dig under it. And I, at that point, would have left things a little bit too long for us to be able to go back and find the drop. So I ended up, you know, let's say, yes, cheating a little bit. I mean, I spawned the drop. And that was primarily because I was at the point where, you know, we would have had to find, like, heaps more of those totems before we would be able to respawn the boss and then refight it in order for us to get the drop that we were supposed to get, in order to find some wisps and then eventually make some wisp lights. Goodness me, very complicated process. But that was the entire journey. Some people, I do recall, didn't like the fact that I did that, and I guess maybe, you know, stopped watching as a result. And, you know, that's fair. I suppose if you wanted to see the entire playthrough without any spoilage, so to speak, I get it. I get it. But I was at the point there where if I had to sort of go through that entire process, I think I would have started hating the game. So that's why I did it. And I don't regret it, to be honest, because, you know, I wanted to keep myself engaged, and that was the easiest way the fastest way to do it, you know? You guys have seen me defeat, you know, the boss in question, and you guys know that it happened. We've got video evidence. But, yeah, I just decided that was the best course of action, and I do not regret my choices. Yeah, trying to see if we can do some hare hunting, since we've got staves to work with. Oh lord, okay. Let's run a little bit. Very good. Let us not attract this thing all the way back to base, shall we? Ooh, okay. Yeah, we could die. Yeah. Oh, Lord. Well, there you go. I mean, me experimenting with a little bit of magic, this is what happens. And, you know, this could be our last sort of little, run of shame. Retrieval. Shameful retrieval. One thing that I do want to do is... Yeah, I think we should load up on HP, to be honest. Because, otherwise we might not survive. So, let's do that. That. Maybe I could risk it, because I would like to have a bit of eater. So yeah, let's go back out. Try not to die. So, I thought that the Mistlands was actually kind of interesting. I really did quite like this as a biome, especially once I realized that there was actually a way that I could see without having to, you know, or I could explore with the ability to see, and that it wasn't too difficult, or it wasn't supposed to be too difficult. Alright, let's armor up. And let's try and see stuff as well. But let's get out of here. I did try to see if I could, like, fight the Yol, but that was not very fruitful at all. Back we go. And we need a bit of a rest, and I also need some ITER foods if I'm going to keep using any of our staves. So let's do... Yeah, let's do a shake. I do want to have a sleep. And I guess finally, we are going to need to go out to the Ashlands, aren't we? I mean, the Ashlands solidified itself as being the toughest biome and the most inhospitable biome as well. And yeah, I would say it takes top spot as the most hated biome, rather than, you know, the mountains. I still don't like the mountains, but I think no one would be able to blame you, or blame me for that matter, if I said that the Ashlands sucks. Because it does. It is a huge challenge just to even land there. So that fact alone, landing in the Ashlands, was already such a challenge that I felt pretty impressed with that fact. You know, the fact that they made a biome so inhospitable that even getting there would be a problem, right? So the fact that we could build a Drakkar, you know, obviously very impressive, but the fact that you needed those, like, sort of heat-resistant materials. Why am I going through right now? My bad. I needed to change the name of the portal. Actually, no, I do have the other portal set up to go back to the Ashlands anyway, so let's go back there. Oh, sorry, I'm missing one thing though, guys. The Mistlands. I really did like the Mistlands enough so that I decided that I wanted to build a base there. I mean, there was the whole growing, you know, Jotunpuffs element as well, so we had no choice but to do some farming there, but I did actually spend quite a bit of time on building the base out there, if I recall, and it was actually quite enjoyable. Didn't really have to, you know, fight too many Seekers or anything like that, too many Eols to try and defend it. I think we picked a really good spot, so I was very happy with that, but yeah, it took a while to build, and I think that's when I started getting, you know, a little bit more meticulous on planning how the builds need to sort of get built from the ground up. Still made heaps of mistakes, and, you know, there was a lot of free-forming in certain elements, and that's fine. But, yeah, I really did quite enjoy the Mistlands after, you know, discovering the Wisps, obviously. Fighting Seekers in some of those sort of uneven terrains, though, that was kind of a challenge. I really didn't enjoy that element. Yeah, these guys probably don't really take a lot of damage from this staff, mainly because it deals fire damage? Possibly. But yeah, Ashlands, I mean, once we landed, I had that sense of dread, right? Trying to explore it. And for good reasons, right? Like when we found, you know, Morgans, when we found Valkyries, you know, it was a huge challenge. Everything was against us, and I guess that is maybe the epitome of Valheim. You know, facing insurmountable challenges, chipping away at stuff, and the satisfaction of finally being able to conquer stuff. That's, I think, the real selling point, and something that I've not been able to get from other similar games, such as Enshrouded, right? Like, as much as I do like playing Enshrouded, I just feel like that sense of accomplishment is missing. Yeah, I don't know about magic wielding, guys. Perhaps maybe it's just like the staves haven't been improved or whatever it is, but I'm feeling like it's very, very challenging to be a spellcaster. And that's why I have my axes, just in case. Okay, and we've got a bit more of an attack coming in here, so I may call it quits here in terms of our tour. But yeah, I'm very happy with where we've ended up and all the builds that we've managed to do and all of the achievements that we've managed to achieve. So I hope you guys are too. But I think it is time for us to go home. And yeah, the crowd of charred skellies that we'll have to deal with, that'll have to wait until we come back in the next season of our series. And I think this is where we're going to be calling it an episode and calling it a series, guys. Going to just do a little bit of a tidy up here before we call it quits. Let's break out the sparkler. Very important. But yeah, it's time to hang our cape and take a much needed rest for this old Viking. Let's throw all of this stuff in there. A roast chook for later, I suppose. Let's do one last honoring of is it Odin? Whoops. There we go. Should do a bit of a kneel. All the dedication and hard work. And just going to see if I can grab the last few things that I did prepare so we can celebrate the end. And it is at this point that I think I shall hang everything. The Robes of Embla, well, that doesn't exactly go here, because it's not exactly part of the set. But, there we go. You know what? I may keep our trousers. I think it's probably important to look respectable. And let's put everything else back. And our trusty feather cape as well. The robes... yeah, the robes we can leave there. And yes, I think it's time for us to just change into something a little nicer. I did buy both of the tunics here, but I think the one with the cape looks a little nicer. So we'll go ahead and wear that. And yeah, this is going to be our break. I do have a little bit more to work with here. We've got some nice fireworks, and I think it's maybe time that we play around with a little bit of these things. I haven't exactly used fireworks very much, have I? Let me just grab our iron pit. Righto guys, so I did a little bit of waiting just to get to around about the afternoon. The sun is about to go down, and truth be told, I did actually record the rest of the episode during the daytime, which I thought was a bad idea in hindsight because we can't really enjoy the fireworks. So that's why we've skipped to this hour. And yeah, one other thing that I've sort of forgotten to do before we wrap up is just to take a look at all of our achievements so far. I mean, look at this base that we've built for ourselves. I mean, the dock did come a little bit later, but I do appreciate having that dock. Obviously, we started off with the, I would say maybe the Great Hall was the first thing that we sort of started building, and then we sort of gradually improved things little by little from there, right? Just trying to see what we can equip that's not going to be so deadly looking. But yeah, I mean, the progress that we made is incredible. I think we started off with a different type of floor here as well, didn't we? Because we had, I think, maybe just like regular old stone floors. Let me get some wood in here. I think probably a good idea to do that. We've got all of our armor sets out here, which is looking really, really nice. And as we got to the Mistlands, obviously we discovered Verger lanterns, and I started going a little bit Verger lantern crazy, trying to put Verger lanterns everywhere. We have the workshop, which started off a little bit smaller, but then we sort of had to expand as we went along. The cross section here, which I've only just introduced in the last few episodes, but definitely a good addition. And the smelting room, yeah, I mean, some people sort of criticized me about having a smelting room and, you know, what the whole idea of having a smelting room is, and yeah, I get it. You know, probably not entirely necessary, but I don't know, I felt like it was kind of an interesting flex, so to speak. We had our second story and the throne room that came with that. For the longest time, we were set up in this spot here with our bed and everything, so our room was here. Now we've converted that into a nice looking sort of strategy room, which I do love. With Grouston came the 45-degree angle roof, which was kind of interesting. I was sort of hoping that we didn't have to go with a 45-degree angle, but that then afforded us this nice space up here, which is now the attic and our bedroom, and we've got a very nice looking hearth in here as well. So I'm very happy with the outcome, and I reckon, you know, throughout 365 episodes we managed to build something pretty incredible. So I'm pretty proud of that fact, and I hope you guys appreciate it too. But anyway, we are kind of set up for the last thing that we're going to do here, which is just to play around with our fireworks and yeah, just contemplate on the things that were. And yeah, I mean, that looks really stunning, doesn't it? Like, I was doing this and I was recording the entire thing during the daytime, but I think I made the right decision here in coming back to try and look at, you know, doing things at night. And we definitely have a much better effect. So once again, guys, I do appreciate you guys checking out the series, no matter whether or not you've been here from the very beginning up until this point, or, you know, if you have only really started watching in the middle of the entire playthrough, perhaps, or, you know, maybe even, you know, decided to check out some episodes but not all, you know, that's appreciated as well. Do appreciate all your likes on any of the videos that you've watched and any of your comments that you've placed down, both criticisms, advice, etc, etc. I do read all of them, and I try to respond to all of them as well if I do have the time. So I do really appreciate your interactions with the series so far, guys. I do want to say that a couple of things may happen, or a couple of different things may happen between now and the first episode of the second season, and that is whether or not I'm going to continue playing on the Xbox or in the Xbox environment, or whether or not we are going to look at you know, perhaps migrating to Steam. So yeah, for those of you who've been here for a while, you may notice that I do actually play in the Xbox environment on PC, but recently my Game Pass subscription has almost run out, and I've had it for 3 years, and it was essentially gifted to me by a friend So Fendi, if you're watching, do want to say a big shout out to you, because if it weren't for the gifted subscription, then I wouldn't have checked Valheim out. But yeah, with it coming to an end, I'm not entirely sure if I can continue without, resubscribing, obviously. And, back then, when I first started Valheim, it was actually something that was free to check out as part of Game Pass. Now you do have to actually buy the game, which is okay. I'm more than happy throwing some money to the developers of Valheim. They definitely deserve every single penny. But yeah, if we do end up going to Steam, then I'm gonna purchase the game once more, and I don't mind doing that. But the thing that worries me the most is whether or not, I'm gonna need the Game Pass subscription to continue playing, because I believe this game is like online only, right? So could be wrong, but yeah, we'll see how we go. If we do migrate to Steam, however, I'm gonna have to figure out how to migrate my save game from the Xbox environment to Steam, and I'm not entirely sure how to do that just yet, so let's see if I can figure that out. If any of you guys know, do enlighten me in the comments down below, but yeah, we shall see when the Deep North comes, and I'll let you guys know whether or not we're still on Xbox or Steam. I mean, probably doesn't really make a difference for you guys anyway, but I reckon this is where we're going to be wrapping up the series, guys. I hope you have enjoyed it once again. I do thank you for all of your support. Just watching as our last fireworks goes up over there, and yeah, I think it's time for us to retire, to rest these old Viking bones. Cheers for watching, guys. Subscribe if you're new. Don't forget to chuck us a like down below. Stay true. And I'll see you guys when we return. Bye for now.